Hello and welcome to the VickyCharles.com podcast for those of us who need just a little help with our blogging and social media. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at VickyCharles.com/podcast. And at the moment I'm giving out free social media tips. Just go to VickyCharles.com/social-tips and fill in your details, and then I'll email you 3 personalised action points for your social media. You can also sign up there for my mailing list. This week's episode, number 63, is 4 Instagram updates. So welcome to episode number 63 of the VickyCharles.com podcast. This week's podcast is 4 Instagram updates that we all need to be aware of as Instagram content creators. Now I will preface this by saying I have done several podcasts about Instagram before, and I will link those in the show notes. Specifically, I think I did a couple about the new algorithm that's come in, and I will speak about that briefly today. But if you're looking to grow your Instagram account, it is worth going back to listen to those, because I think there's some quite good content in there and some quite good tips that can help you to grow your account. So I will leave links to those in the show notes, which you can find at VickyCharles.com/podcast. So my first thing that you need to be aware of the Instagram update today is longer video capability. Now, when video was first rolled out quite a while ago now, we all got very excited that we could post videos on Instagram, but it was only 15 seconds. As of April, they started rolling out longer video capability, and by now everybody should have 60-second videos on Instagram. You should be able to post 60 seconds. Now with it, you can do the usual, you can add filters, you can turn off sound, you can also choose a cover photo so that it shows up nicely in people's feeds as they're scrolling past. Now, this is really good for those of us who are trying to use video a bit more, myself included. You could use it, 15 seconds really was nothing. It was kind of like, oh, hi, my name is Vicky and I am and that's 15 seconds up with. So it wasn't very good for kind of getting any sort of a point across. You could use it, I've seen some brilliant ones where people use their 15 seconds to kind of show snippets of workout videos, or cut together bits and bobs of things they've done, but to actually give people any sort of a consistent message, a coherent message, anything you want to kind of say to people, 15 seconds is not long enough in my opinion, so a minute is brilliant. Now I'm going to start using this, I think, to start kind of showing people what's going to be in the podcast each week. Just a quick video of me saying, in this week's podcast, blah blah blah. I think that that's just a kind of a handy thing rather than having it written down. These days we're really quite late, or maybe it's just me, we're quite lazy about reading text, but it's easy to watch a video or listen to something when somebody says, this is what's coming up. So it's really handy for that, but it's also good if you download your Snapchat story video. You can then pop that into Instagram, and it kind of gives you that cross coverage, I think, of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, really. So you can repurpose your content a lot more with any other videos that you're producing. So if you're producing a YouTube video or whatever else, you can take a good a 1-minute chunk out of your video and stick it onto Instagram as a taster, and whereas you could do that with 15-second clips and say and put a thing in the caption to say, the rest of the videos on my YouTube. But realistically, 15 seconds wasn't long enough to get, I don't think 15 seconds was long enough to get people at all interested. Certainly not, 15 seconds is never long enough to get people interested enough to make them leave their Instagram newsfeed, especially since you can't have click-through links on your Instagram captions, only on your profile. So I'm hoping with the 60-second videos, it gives people more of a chance to kind of get their message and out there and pull people across if they want to move them over to YouTube or to Facebook. The second new Instagram update is about video as well, and it's about the video functions that they've rolled out. Now you might have noticed, I first noticed this and I thought that they had just done away with showing how many likes a video has, because now when you see a video, underneath of it, it tells you how many people have viewed it, and I thought, well, it's handy that you can see how many viewed it, but not great if you can't see the number of likes. Then I realised that if you click on the number of views, it shows you not just the number of views, it also shows you the number of likes, and more importantly, who has liked it. And it does that in a really clever way, because I think it's brilliant. It gives you then a list of the people who have liked your video and the option to follow the ones that you're not following. So it does it, very similarly to Facebook, to be honest. It gives you a list of people. It does this as well with your Instagram, with your Instagram pictures. It gives you a list of people who've liked it and a choice, an option to follow them if you're not following them. But it does it for video, so it kind of gives you that option. I think it's brilliant because it gives you that option to compare the number of views against the number of likes. With a picture, you can't tell how many people have actually seen the picture because quite often we just scroll through our Instagram feed, don't we? Certainly, with the algorithms and everything, we just scroll through until we see something we like. But with the video, it tells you how many people have viewed your video, which can be really handy to compare against the number of likes. For instance, if you've got a video that's got 400 views but only 10 people have liked it, to me that says, well, it was visually engaging enough that they kind of stopped and watched it, but the content wasn't good enough that they then felt or wasn't engaging enough that they then felt the need to go back and like it. Now, I will say here that Chalene Johnson always says, or the last thing I saw from her about Instagram was from before this change, but she said in it that when you do a video, quite often people have had to click on the video to get the sound in the first place, so they're not always then inclined to go back and click like as well. I guess we're just too lazy to do 2 clicks. We've already done 1 click and then we just scroll on to the next thing. So she always advises kind of go in and just every now and then just say thank you for liking my video, don't forget to like my video, just to remind people. But the option to compare the number of likes and the number of views for me is brilliant because it helps you to see where you might be going wrong or where you might be going right, and so that you can replicate that to the next time. The third Instagram update that we all need to be aware of is that you can now link your profile to your ads. Now, this is fantastic. I've not done many ads in Instagram so far, but I'm working on it because I think they're fantastic. Now, how this works is that when you use the Facebook Ad Manager to create an ad, you can link your profile to your Instagram profile, to your ad account, and that means that when you post an ad, you can post into Instagram as well. You can design your ad for Instagram as well, and it's very clever. It does all the clever things that you would expect from the Facebook Ad Manager. But the call to action button from your ad, so the book now or the call now or the download or whatever you want to say, that will appear at the top of your profile when people click into your profile from your ad. So say you've done an ad that is, come and buy blah 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 blah, then and somebody clicks into your profile, that button at the top, come and buy or buy now or whatever, sits at the top of your profile page, which is really good because if you think, people click into your profile to to see who you are or whatever, then they might then go, I can't figure out how to get back to where I was, or I'll just leave it. And they might not then click the button that they might previously have clicked. Now, this is really important to bear in mind when you're choosing the text for your call to action button. You need to bear in mind that it will be sitting at the top of your profile. So don't have it saying something really random that is related only to the text in your ad. Make sure it's something that works okay kind of as a standalone. But also, kind of bear in mind that if people click through to your profile and the top of your profile is buy now, and the rest of your profile is, something personal about cats or dogs or something, it doesn't really they don't fit well together. Or if your profile is, loads of pictures of vegan food, but you're selling something from a butcher's, or, things that just don't sit well together. So bear in mind that if you're going to do an ad, say for example, my next ad, the only ads I've ever done on Facebook or on Instagram for my business are for my workshops, and the next time I do a workshop it will say book now, and people will click through hopefully to my profile, and I'll make sure that my profile text is optimized to include details of the fact that I do these workshops so that people can see, it fits together nicely, it kind of reminds them what they're looking at, why they should book now, and so on and so forth. So that's really important to bear in mind if you're running an ad. That it's not, as far as I know, it's not optional. It just does show your call to action button at the top of your profile. So in that way, I'm kind of glad that I've kept my 2 Instagram accounts separate, because my personal Instagram account is full of pictures of my child for the most part, and to then have something at the top of the page saying book now for a workshop really wouldn't sit well together, would it? Or I don't think it would. The fourth and final thing that you need to know about Instagram is that the algorithm is now here. It has now been rolled out, as far as I know, to everybody after much kind of fuss and moaning from people and, oh, the world's going to end, and hand-wringing and all sorts. It's now here, and guess what? The world hasn't ended. Guess what? We're all still using Instagram. Guess what? Nobody really cares. People do complain a bit, but people like to complain. Now, so your newsfeed now, you should have probably have noticed, maybe you haven't, but it's no longer chronological, so it's not kind of showing, at things as and when. It's showing, this is the important thing, it's not showing it, it's not determined by engagement, it's not determined by, oh, this post has been, has had 5,000 likes, so you're bound to like it, so we'll shove it in the top of your newsfeed. That's not how it's working. It's what Instagram thinks you will like. And I think, actually, for me, Instagram is proving to be a little better with its intuition than Facebook in that respect. So it's not, because it's not based on it's the engagement of a post. So one of your friends posts a picture of their dog, and it's something that you usually engage with that person. It doesn't matter if that dog picture has got no likes and no comments. If you usually engage with that person, or you usually like pictures with that particular hashtag, it's going to show up in your newsfeed, and that's really good, because it means you're not going to be kind of blasted by the same people, like the same big Instagram accounts who get 5,000 likes for every single picture, unless you start liking their pictures. That's really handy for us as content creators as well, because it means that if we can get people liking our posts, it means they will show up on people's news feeds, and you can start to educate your followers then by saying to them, if you like my posts, do actually physically go and like them, because that means they'll show up in your newsfeed more. And I think that's a nicer thing to ask people to do than what everyone was doing before, which was turn on notifications, because, as I said in previous podcasts, nobody really cares that much that they want to have a push notification every single time you update. So this is kind of a nicer way of doing it, of just saying, look, if you like my posts, actually go and like them, and then you'll see more of them. Now, this is a good way that you can make sure that what you see in your newsfeed is what you want to see. And what I mean by that is, I think previously there was a lot of like for like stuff going on. If we, like the like ladders and all that nonsense, where people would go, I'll like your post and you like my post, and we'll all like each other, and that'll be grand, won't it? And then you end up forever seeing pictures from somebody with whom you have no connection, you don't like them, or you don't know them at all, and you kind of think, well, who are you? Why have I got a picture of your kid in my newsfeed? So you can stop doing that, or I would stop doing that, because I don't want to see those pictures in my newsfeed, and if that's going to bump out a picture from somebody that I do want to see. So just be kind of more strategic maybe in the pictures that you're liking, and just more aware of the fact that that your newsfeed is going to be made up of pictures from people whose photos you've previously liked, rather than just the most popular ones, which it was what everybody thought was going to happen. And I think it's quite good that it's worked out that that's not how it's going to happen, because like I said, then Instagram would basically be dominated by those 5 people who all get 1 million likes for each picture. I think it's more kind of fair to the small guy, this one, and it's also more fair to the end user, which is what really Facebook was always all about with their algorithms anyway. So those were 4 Instagram updates that we all need to know about as content creators. As always, I welcome feedback. If you have found it interesting, do please let me know. If you already knew all of this and it was a waste of your time, be nice about letting me know. And if there is anything that you would like to hear in future podcasts, do please feel free to contact me. You can either leave a comment on the blog post associated with this, you can tweet me at @SingleEmmaHoy, or you can send me an email, vicky@vickycharles.com. Thank you so much for listening to the vickycharles.com podcast. The show notes for this and all previous podcasts can be found at vickycharles.com/podcast. And don't forget that at the moment I'm giving out free social media tips. So if you go to vickycharles.com/social-tips and fill in your details, I will email you 3 personalised action points for your social media. You can also tick the box on that form and join my mailing list, where you will be sent a free download of social media tips. And you'll be on my mailing list, so you'll get loads of cool stuff sent to you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next week.